All right. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Health Detective Podcast by Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. My name is Evan Transu, aka Detective Ev, and I will be your host for today's show. We're doing Lunch and Learn number 14. And if you see a big smile on my face because you're watching on video, you'll notice that I just picked up my fresh glasses today. You guys will be interested in this from a functional and natural health perspective. I'm actually someone who has worn glasses on and off since about the age of, I want to say 14 or 15. And you say, well, how can you do it on and off? So this is a whole episode in and of itself. But one of the things that I was able to notice over time is that exposure to artificial light was leading to my eyes not working as well, right? Or not seeing as well. And then similarly, when I was exposed to more natural light, my eyes would get better. And what's fascinating about this, in the last several years, studies have come out showing that red light actually greatly improves eyesight. So you do not need to go buy an expensive red light device to do this. You need to get outside, and you ideally need to get outside during the morning. So I thought it was, it kind of sucks that I have to wear them right now, but I thought it was kind of interesting that basically just kind of grinding at home for a year, right? Really working at home more than I normally would and being on the computer way more than I normally would was enough to offset my eyes again. So one day I won't need them, but for now we have this. As if I wasn't nerdy enough, I think this really has set a new precedent for myself here. I will be flying solo. Lucy will not be on for this one, and I want you guys to know she's okay. This has happened a couple times. I will just say she's working on a very special project that we cannot announce right now, but it will make sense when we do talk about it. And we're going to be talking about supplements today and the FDN philosophy with this. If it's your first Lunch and Learn with us, Lunch and Learns are where we hang out for about 25 to 30 minutes and we discuss main topics of the FDN course at a very high level typically. Now, if you were on last week, I'd be curious in the chat to know if anyone was with us last week. For Dr. Aaron Gonshore, that was not high level. Dr. Aaron Gonshore is incredibly intelligent, so we got very nerdy on that one. But for these, typically we focus on more of the high level topics so that you can decide whether or not the FDN course would be a good fit for you, or maybe you can't afford the FDN course or just don't want to go through it for whatever reason. You could still get free content on YouTube where you can actually learn something and hopefully apply something to your health coaching practice or health practitioner practice if you have one. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about an event first, and then we'll get into the supplements. If you guys have not heard of HICS yet, I do want to shout it out again. So HICS Live is going to be going down October 17th through 19th in a beautiful San Diego, California. And it's basically the closest thing that we've had to an FDN conference since 2019 when FDN used to host conferences. And you know what happened between 2019 and 2020. So that has kind of put a halt on what we were doing. But the people that are hosting HICS are actually Jen and Jeremy Maleka, Jeremy Maleka of Biocanic. And Jen has been a 10-year FDN practitioner, very successful practice. Biocanic was basically a platform made, more or less for FDNs by FDNs. And so now they're hosting a conference. We're expecting about 100 FDNs to be in attendance. We already have over 30 or 40 signed up. So it's going to be amazing. Founder Reed Davis is going to be there. I'll be there for whatever that's worth to you. Course supervisor Elizabeth Gaines will be there. It's going to be amazing. So go to hicks-live.com and use code all caps HDP200 at checkout. That'll give you $200 off your tickets. That's hicks-live.com and HDP200 at checkout. We hope to see you there. If you can afford it and swing it, get the VIP one because there's going to be a sunset cruise dinner boat tour thing in Mission Bay, San Diego. So I can't wait. What a cool thing to do. All right, let's dive into supplements. And I feel like everything I'm saying now is smarter somehow because I have these glasses on. You tell me if you feel the same way. Let's see if something good comes out. So FDN obviously does use supplements. That's a huge thing that we talk about. We discuss it frequently in our lab review, Lunch and Learns, and other episodes on this podcast. But we're a little different in our philosophy of how we handle supplements and how we use them or view them even as practitioners. Let's start with how Western medicine uses supplements. Western medicine does not typically go to supplements. Obviously, the things are changing nowadays. So I'm talking on August 20th, 2024. Things are evolving as we speak, and they're probably going to be very evolved in the next several years, hopefully. But generally speaking, they would want you to take a multivitamin, and going and buying one from your average supermarket would be more than enough, and that would be fine. Obviously, I think anyone watching something like this would agree that that is not fine and not enough, but I'm just saying that's what typically Western medicine would do. And they would look at supplements as a very, very small part of their practice. And if they talk about it at all with their clients, they're not going to be the highest quality typically. And this is not because they're trying to mislead people. I can't emphasize that enough. This is because they're not trained in that stuff. So that's what Western medicine is going to do. Mila said she loves the glasses. Awesome. Thank you, Mila. Or Mila. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but either way, thank you. So that's how Western medicine views it. But then there is a difference with how natural or functional, quote unquote, medicine views it that is still different than FDN. A lot of the times, what's happening in natural and functional medicine is that they basically try to play Western medicine with supplements. So, what do I mean by that? I don't mean that they do the same thing as Western medicine. I mean, we as natural practitioners obviously cannot prescribe something that's unethical and illegal. So when they're recommending things, what they might do is say, okay, you have anxiety. Let's say I had pretty severe anxiety. If I go to Western medicine, they're probably going to recommend, generally speaking, an SSRI or a benzodiazepine or both. So if you don't know what those are, SSRIs would be your like Prozacs and Zolofts, and a benzodiazepine would be your Xanaxes, Valiums, Klonopins, and Ativans, stuff like that. So that's going to be what they recommend. Now, especially the benzodiazepines actually can be quite effective for anxiety, but of course they bring with them a whole slew of side effects, long-term and short-term side effects. And of course, some of them can also be addicting, especially the benzodiazepines. So that's a problem. So if we go to natural medicine, a lot of the times they can't give you a benzodiazepine even if they wanted to, and most of the time they don't. So now they're going to give you a supplement for your symptom or condition. We're going to treat that condition with a supplement. And of course, that's not a complete way to do this. One, a lot of the supplements, again, going back to my example of the extreme anxiety, are not going to work that well for something like anxiety. It might help calm you down a little bit, but it's never going to be the same as a benzodiazepine. So it doesn't work as well, but generally speaking, there might be little to no side effects. So that would be the trade-off for it. Both of those philosophies have one thing in common that FDN does not go to. They have one thing in common that FDN does not subscribe to. They're treating the symptom, right? The symptom is anxiety. The condition is anxiety. And you can plug in any symptom there. It could have been acne. It could have been gut issues. You're treating it with this supplement or medication. We don't look at it that way at FDN. We look at supplements for what they literally are. They're supplemental. They're things that ideally we shouldn't even need, but I put a little disclaimer on that because we're going to dive into why we do think some, maybe I won't use the word need, but might be beneficial to use long-term in today's world, but we still view it differently. We would never work with someone as an FDN and say, oh, this person has anxiety. The first thing I need to do is get them on some type of supplement for this anxiety. We would never say that. Now, at the same time, we don't want people to be in excruciating pain, whether it be physical or mental. So we do something that we call intelligent allopathy. Allopathy is what falls under the category of Western medicine, where they treat symptoms and conditions with drugs and surgery. So obviously we're not treating anything, but intelligent allopathy is a bit of a play on words where it's like, okay, how can we help this person find some relief for what they're dealing with right now, with the understanding that there is no reason that they should be dealing with this. No one should have to deal with panic disorder long term. No one should have to deal with cystic acne. No one should have to deal with IBS. And if that's true, that means that you're not missing a supplement. We're missing something way bigger picture. So that's the difference, right? Western and natural kind of fall sometimes in this similar category where it's like, all right, let's just give something for that. Let's give this for that. And then the other stuff's almost like a secondary thought, if it's a thought at all. Most natural practitioners, I'll give it to them, they at least try to incorporate the other stuff, but they're almost putting, if it was like a scale, they're putting supplements of these fancy concoctions on the same way, the same plane as the lifestyle stuff. We would never look at it that way. Supplements are this small thing for us where if we're lucky, maybe we can provide some relief to the person, but we need to figure out why is their body manifesting with these symptoms? What is going on that's leading to someone having panic disorder? What's going on that's leading to someone having breakouts all the time? It must be something more than a deficiency in a medication or a supplement. When we implement supplement protocols with clients, we also handle this completely differently. If you guys have ever worked with a natural practitioner or someone who recommended or even prescribed supplements, depending on their credentials, you might have found that it's like, hey, take what's on the back of the bottle or take this specific dose to start out, do that for 2 weeks and let's see what happens. Never would an FDN recommend someone to do that. We don't do that. How we do it is with the understanding that everyone is bio-individual and that we need to find the dose that will work for them at that particular time. Now, you cannot do that by taking a cookie cutter approach where we just say, all right, everyone gets 200 milligrams of XYZ or everyone gets 5 grams of XYZ. We do not do that. What we do is a method called self-titration. And these are the little things in Lunch and Learn that you can pick up. Again, if you're never interested in the FDN course, that's totally fine. These are the things that you can apply. This isn't proprietary information. It's something that you could apply immediately with yourself or your clients. Self-titration is tedious, but it works very well. So instead of jumping these people to the normal or max recommended dose of a supplement, we say we're going to do the bare minimum and keep working up slowly until you find this perfect sweet spot for yourself. Now, why would this even matter? Especially if you're new to this stuff. You're like, why would I need to do this? It's a supplement, right? How big is it really going to be? Well, when you're using supplements that are from trusted companies and brands that actually have third-party testing on what they're doing, supplements can be very strong. The issue is a lot of the times when you're going to, I won't mention any names, but let's just say very large brand name stores that might be in most towns or most states of the United States and even other countries as well. When you go to their supplement sections, they are not high quality stuff. And the ingredients, or rather the doses of the ingredients, are so small that it almost doesn't make a difference. So it's not that there's not vitamin D in it, it's that the form that's in it doesn't really matter. And the amount's so low that you're not even getting a benefit. That's an issue. So when you give people real supplements, it's like, whoa, okay, this could actually do something. So you have to start out slow, because if you're working with particularly sick people, and you might have experienced this yourself if you've been through the other side of this, you can react negatively to supplements because of how strong they are. For example, if I start working with someone who we ran some tests and we know that they have major parasitic overgrowth and they've been under constant stress for like 10 years, usually those would go hand in hand. If we start addressing the parasites with a natural supplemental protocol, that person could get what's called a Herxheimer reaction, more commonly known as a die-off reaction. And that doesn't feel so good. When I went to a naturopathic doctor that was in my hometown, and God bless her, man, she meant well. I'm never saying these people don't mean well, but she gave me something called Allimax. So Allimax, you guys might have heard of this. It is it's a particular brand name for allicin, which is in garlic. And when you take it in very high doses, it's very antibacterial. That's why garlic in and of itself can be useful. But when you concentrate some of the active ingredients in garlic, that's not how you would word it, but you know what I mean. The main ingredients that make up garlic, that can be very potent as an antibiotic, more or less. And so I just started taking the dose that she recommended to everyone. It took about 3 days before I was having extreme vertigo and was very uncomfortable, like just physically very uncomfortable. Tingles, weird stuff was going on. I was sick as a dog. And that's because a generic dose that was just on the bottle got recommended to every one of her clients, no matter how sick or not sick they were. Again, this is not a condemnation to the person who did this. I know that they meant well, but I don't think that's the right philosophy. Allimax is something that occasionally an FDN would use. I was actually taught about this product when I went through the FDN course. We would never be sitting there and telling someone to take 2 capsules twice a day when they're first starting out. You know what we're going to do? We're going to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, you start with 1 capsule today, and we're going to do this for at least 2 to 3 days to see how you feel. We're not starting any other supplements in the meantime either. Okay, good. You made it. You feel great. Awesome. Now we're going to go to 2. And we do that for 2 to 3 days. Oh, you still feel good. That's awesome. Let's go to 3. We do that for 2 to 3 days. Oh, wait, you're starting to get a little symptom now? And that's the reason that we do this, is because the symptoms would be very small. You're starting to feel a little off, some malaise maybe. And it's amazing to me how many people, I use that word all the time, but people don't know what that means sometimes. Malaise just means a general feeling of being unwell. If you had a cold, you would probably say that you have malaise or you feel that way. And that's how these individuals feel when they start getting this Herxheimer or die-off reaction. And so then we would say immediately, the second we start feeling that, all right, dial it back. 2 capsules a day is going to be your sweet spot. That's where you're able to feel good. We know it's still having some effect, a positive effect, and we're going to stay there for a while before we start messing around with this thing or upping the dose again. And we do want you to work to a certain dose eventually, but we're not going to start there right now with you. So that's also just a difference in philosophy of how we approach supplements. And again, I said this could be kind of tedious because if we go through the lab results for someone and we find that maybe they would benefit from 5 to 8 supplements at this time, we work through with them that slowly. We are taught in the FDN course how to prioritize which supplements will be most beneficial to them. So let's say we were recommending 6 at a given time. We will take those 6, we will have an order of top priority to least priority, and we are going to help that person implement each and every single one until they get to the perfect dose. Now, here's a little quiz. Why would you do that? Why can't we just self-titrate? That was the words I used. Self-titrate all the supplements at once. Why can't we do that? Because if I start getting an effect on day 5 and I'm taking 6 new supplements, how do I know which supplement caused the reaction? I don't. And now I either have to just bear with it or stop taking all these things. And that's not great for client compliance. Who's going to stick with that stuff if they feel like hell after they just spent all this money on supplements that you promised were going to be great and now they don't feel good? So it's tedious, yes, but this is how you increase client compliance. And more importantly than that, this is how you get them the results that you promised them when you took them on as a client. This is how you deliver. This is how you show them that you're different than other places because other places aren't going to work with them to this capacity. It's too annoying to get a client to go through all through this process of the self-titration, and they just want to take all the supplements at once. We're not going to do that. You're going to do this the right way so that we can get you the best results possible because we promised you that's what we were here to do as your practitioner. And you don't need to be an FDN to adopt this philosophy. You can go do this tomorrow with what you're doing as a health coach or health practitioner. So that's a way we're different. Another way that the supplements are different here is we are not brand loyal in any sense. And this is also true with our lab testing. What do I mean by not brand loyal? A lot of the times what happens is these schools or institutes or just even the practitioner, they get bought out, man. Not literally, but they get bought out because these people come and they give them a sweet commission deal. And all of a sudden now, these are the only labs and supplements that a place is recommending. You will never find that at FDN. Even in our foundational labs, there's 5 tests. And 3 of them are the same company just because they allow us to do whatever we want in the sense of putting whatever markers we want on. The other 2 are from 2 separate companies. So in the foundational labs, the 5, we have 3 separate companies that we use just to deliver you those 5 foundational labs because we're not loyal with it. We know these guys have the best over here, these gals have the best over there, and we want the best for our practitioners. It's the exact same thing with the supplements. Do we teach you specific brands in the course? Yes, obviously, because otherwise it'd be very confusing trying to go out and figuring which one of the 100 is the best. So we'll teach you several in the course, but then the second that you graduate, you will find in our communities and in our graduate level training, because we do have over 800 hours of content available to our graduates at only $33 a month, and you can cancel at any time. That's just for being in our graduate group. It's called AFDNP. So when you guys see Lucy on normally for Lunch and Learn, by the way, that's what she runs. She's the executive director at AFDNP. Hopefully that just connected something for you guys. So we have a bunch of training there where we show you every brand imaginable that we know is reputable and actually studies what their products are claiming to do. What a concept. Most of these supplements that are marketed very well are not necessarily the best ones with the most solid research behind them. There are cases where they overlap, but it is very rare that the person who is inspired enough and intelligent enough, mind you, to create a supplement company that has super high quality stuff also has the brains and the mind for marketing or to team up with someone who's good at the marketing side. So there are a few companies that have done that. Microbiome Labs is one of them. Biobotanicals is one of them. I'll definitely shout out both of those companies. They have a wonderful mix of expert marketing with expert creation of the formulas and actual scientific validation of what they're putting out on the market. So that's very cool. So that's how FDNs are different with this. And I'll always say this, if you guys listen frequently, you might have heard me bring this up for different reasons. No course is perfect, including FDN. We'd love for it to be perfect. There's always going to be holes or missing pieces of any course. If there wasn't, you'd probably spend $150,000 to go through one of these programs, which would be ridiculous. So what we try to do is acknowledge that every course is really good at certain things. And I will speak confidently on this and say this confidently. FDN is probably one of, if not the best course in terms of training you on how to properly use supplements. We do not want to be another place where people are spending a bunch of money on these dumb protocols and not getting results, and then yet again having a bad run-in with a practitioner where they feel like they got ripped off. So, and a huge reason that happens is because of the supplement recommendations. It's not just because of that, but that's a huge area where people really get screwed up. So we do extensive training in the FDN course to make sure you understand supplements in a high-level way and in a very specific way. High level being the philosophies that I talked about already today and more. The specificity being, okay, if a brand goes out of business tomorrow or it becomes unavailable in the country that you're ordering, how can you use the thinking ability that you got at FDN to go out and find a new product very quickly for your client so that you don't feel like your world just collapsed? That's another issue when we become too brand loyal to the labs or the supplements, even if they're great people running it. Dr. Aaron Gonchor is a great person, right? Fluids IQ. He knows that we can't be brand loyal, not because we don't love him, but because things change in the market constantly. And we need to be aware of that if we're going to serve our practitioners and our clients at the highest level. So that's what you have to know for supplements as well. It's the same exact thing. So I think that's about it for today. It's a little easier to talk for 30 minutes when Lucy's on with me. But this is about all we have for supplements. I just wanted to show you guys what it's like in the course, because a very common question that we get is the supplement side. People want to know, am I going to get protocols? Am I going to be trained on supplements? What brands are you teaching in the course? So the answers to all of those are you're getting trained extensively on supplements. Yes, you will always understand a protocol to have for your clients. And the best part is this, each client's unique. So we'll do you one better. We won't just say, hey, take this sheet and, plug and play it with this client. How about this? We're going to teach you how to think about it so you can actually create a unique protocol for the unique human being in front of you. What a concept, right? And you're like, well, that's going to take a lot of time. Yeah, that's why there's 150 hours of advanced course content in the FDN course, man. It's not just a weekend course that you can just blow through. We have it set up in such a way that you actually get trained how to think so that you can go out and deliver high results for people. If you want to try the FDN course, I don't shout this out enough. Go to fdntraining.com/resources, fdntraining.com/resources. And there is a link in there or a bubble or a button or something that says start for free or try for free. And you can always try the FDN course for free. You're not going to get to learn a bunch about supplements in the free version, but you will get to see how the course is structured and, basically what it would be like to go through it so you can make a more informed decision. If you guys have any questions, I don't see any right now other than, again, thank you, Mila, for complimenting my new glasses here. I do feel that I look very nerdy, but I think in this space, that's probably a good thing, not a bad thing. So I appreciate you guys being with us. Next week, I will have Lucy back. I usually discuss with her right before this how we're going to do each week. So it's a mystery what our next Lunch and Learn will be. But if you are watching live right now and you have some time today, or maybe this is your day off, I'll be back at 3 o'clock Eastern time with Dr. Piper Gibson. And we're going to be doing a live podcast interview today, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and day, and we will see you soon.